Love Lambert, also known as C-Love, and we are here today to share a little bit of some insights and some breakthroughs with the amazing Sage MOLOTOV. Hi Sage. She just went through my 8-week program, Pain into Power, and she wanted to share some really amazing things she's experiencing and has experienced. So Sage, could you give us a little backstory about you, who you are, and what brought you to my program?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Sage, and I'm from LA. I live in downtown LA right now. I've been in LA for about 9 years, and I'm from Miami Beach, Florida. What initially brought me to this program was I was in so much physical pain and emotional pain. I could not stand it. And honestly, I couldn't recognize myself. I couldn't recognize my life. And it just seemed like everything was falling apart around me, no matter what I tried to do. I had just experienced 2 near-death experiences back to back, kind of like 8 months apart. One of them was in a foreign country, and I was incarcerated for a prescription, my prescription. And, I did a very stupid thing, and I lost my life savings trying to get myself out of the situation, which I did, thankfully. But it really just ripped the rug out from under me in terms of my financial safety and security and all the hard work that I put into my career since I arrived in LA. So that really devastated me, and it took its toll. I had a lot of trauma was in my body, and it was causing all the pain. Other traumas compounded those issues, and one day I just found myself collapsed in a heap on my bedroom floor, and I just started crying and crying and crying. I just couldn't take it anymore. And then I did the unthinkable for somebody like myself who carries a lot of shame and humiliation, and I have always felt that way. And the unthinkable was, like, I reached out for help. I reached out on Facebook, of all places, and the response was really tremendous and amazing. And I immediately felt a sense of community. And that's when Cassandra reached out and related to me that we could work on EFT tapping, and that might help release a lot of the pain and the trauma that I was experiencing, because I knew it was unreleased trauma. I knew it was that. I didn't think it was anything else. I didn't think it was a medical issue. I was absolutely certain it was trauma. And so when we started to discuss, the issues, I knew we were a perfect match. So that's how I came to be a part of this program.
That's amazing. I'm so glad I saw your post too, because that was like total divine synchronicity.
Sure was.
So what prices were you fully paying at that time before you joined the program?
Oh, I was paying dearly with every fiber of my being. I felt so disconnected from myself, from my source, my creator. I felt like I was alone in like a bubble, and I was completely unable to connect with anybody because of the pain that I was in and the shame that I carried from being in this pain. It was like an endless cycle. So the price I paid was like this loneliness and this feeling of being trapped and not being able to get out of it. I noticed that all my relationships had just started to dissolve or deteriorate or even implode in front of me. And I found that a lot of my lifelong friends had abandoned me, or we had, broke up or whatever it was. And a lot of these things it started to occur to me that this wasn't normal and something was going on and I really needed to address it. But I had a lot of blind spots because of the trauma. And I was desperate. I basically hit rock bottom and had nowhere else to go from there. And so I would say that I paid the price, and I had nothing at that point. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that too. And then hitting that place and not really knowing where to turn. So I just feel like it was so cool that the divine synchronicity happened. Also, just the timing of being able to even help you in the way that I've been able to help you is also more synchronistic. What would you say are some of the specific results and breakthroughs and your biggest wins since our time together?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, there's so many breakthroughs and results. So I'll start with the breakthroughs that I had from the beginning. Some of the breakthroughs related to my story. And if you don't know what your story is, it's a thought process that you developed as a child that you kept going in your subconscious and maybe unconscious mind that you kept in your mind all throughout adulthood that no longer serves you, and it goes against everything that really is true about you. But because you keep believing it, it prevents you from moving forward in your life. So I realized the stories I was telling myself, and I was able to figure out where those stories came from. And in order to, in making those connections, I saw how I could change those stories. And once I changed those stories, I got clear on what it is that I wanted as opposed to what it is I was telling myself I wanted, right? So that was a huge breakthrough. Another breakthrough that I had was recognizing all the traumas that I had experienced as a child, even traumas I didn't even know that I had, traumas that I discovered just through doing the work, just through doing the tapping and releasing. I discovered that those traumas created blueprints for more traumas to happen in my adult life. And so the things I was experiencing as an adult in my personal life and in my career were a result of these blueprints that had been established as a child. And so the same types of traumas were happening to me over and over again. And I couldn't understand why. In fact, I didn't even make the connection until I started doing this work with Cassandra. So that was another huge breakthrough. I recognized the patterns that I was subconsciously attracted to. Now, from there, I recognized the people I was subconsciously attracted to. And I recognized that I, as an empath, I had a distinct connection to narcissists, and I had this almost magnetic connection or attraction to them for some reason, And as I began to investigate that further, doing the work, a lot of things came up for me. And of course, it all relates to childhood trauma and childhood experiences with your caregivers. And, if it's not your parents, it could be anybody really out there. So everything that I was processing at the time related to my childhood. And so once I really started to wear that and really just own it and understand it, I could really start to do the work, because ultimately I wanted to figure out who I was and what had happened in my life, and what had happened before to make me the way that I was now. So those are some pretty profound breakthroughs that I had. Now the results were, in my wildest dreams, I never thought that I would experience such amazing transformation. So the first thing that I noticed was through tapping and through spiritual work and through meditation and the practice of forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving the people who hurt you in your life. You begin to experience this really profound relationship with yourself and with your, whatever the God is of your understanding, your source, your creator. And so in that experience, I began to feel like whole again. And so that experience just began to lift me up, and I was really able to build myself back up using like spiritual principles, nothing crazy, nothing you haven't even heard before, nothing you haven't been taught to integrate into your life before, just being reminded, just things you need to be reminded to do on a daily basis to really connect with yourself every day. Because a lot of times when we get lost because we're not tuned into what our hearts are telling us, So that was a profound result that I experienced. I also experienced spontaneous healing. Now that was probably one of the most profound things that I have ever experienced in my life. So when I came into this program, like I said, I had a tremendous amount of physical pain in my body, in my tailbone, my sacrum, my lower back, pretty much my whole body was racked with pain. I was told I might have fibromyalgia. I definitely had inflammation and osteoarthritis, which was genetic or hereditary, but I'll get into that later. So through tapping and releasing all of these stored memories, I had an incredible experience where my spine began to feel better. My sacrum released all of these traumatic memories. And I can tell you right now, I feel so much better. I feel so much younger. I'm able to move like I haven't moved like this in 10, 15 years. It's incredible. Every day I wake up and I jump effortlessly. It's literally a miracle. Yeah. Yeah. So other big wins. I would say that I've gone through probably the most incredible spiritual transformation that I've ever had. I mean, I began practicing yoga about 20 years ago, and I became a yoga teacher in 2005. And I taught pretty regularly for about 6 years, and then I lost my way, like you do sometimes. But this practice, this 8-week course, definitely brought it home for me. And I experienced so many profound, like, psychic experiences and reconnecting with my guides and angels, and just such powerful transformations that, I can sit with you today and I can tell you, things that I've never been able to say even to myself without the shame or humiliation that I've always felt carrying those burdens in silence. And so I would say that that is probably my biggest win, is that, I could speak my truth finally. And I mean, isn't that what we all need,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone to hold a safe space and bear
Yeah.
witness. Yeah.
Yes. And Cassandra held the safest space I could have imagined being in. It was like a cosmic womb, if you will. And I don't remember ever in my life feeling this like nurtured or nourished from the source. It was like I felt like she was this vessel of divine guidance, and it was an amazing experience to have that connection, because it just you feel it. It feels real. You feel the energy and you feel the connection, and it was the most profound thing I've ever experienced in my life, hands down. And I've done some cool shit in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear too your experience, because I have my experience of holding this space to actually hear someone say their experience of being in it. It just helps me also sink in what I'm doing over here. So I appreciate honest feedback too, because I have my experience on this side, right? And then you have your experience on that side. So it's cool to like check in and see just what your experience is on the receiving end. This is really, thank you for sharing all this. Like even me hearing it, I'm just like, wow. Like,
truly the most divinely aligned experience I've ever had. Yeah, everything, even from the moment that it happened, like it just came.
Even like the timing, even on my side, even because like it was like I saw your post and I just made a little like comment about it, and then like we connected, and then we did like the little mini sessions, but then you went to the 8-week, and honestly, you were like part of my beta round, right? So it's been even more cool to just see how potent all of it has been. See, like the universe working through both of us to co-create like this amazing transformative experience. My question is, if someone was on the fence about like working with me or even going deeper with their own healing, what would you tell them? Like, why should they take that step over the fence and actually commit?
Yes, good question. Well, if you're thinking about it and you're not sure if you are ready, then you should do it. No, actually, if you're thinking about taking this next step, you should definitely have the conversation with yourself. You know, how's it going so far for you? You know, how are you doing without this program? Where is it taking you? Where's your life gone thus far? And do you think you could get yourself out of the mess you're in now on your own? You know, that's a good question to ask yourself. And, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years if you continue on the path that you are on at this moment? You know, like if you don't make a change, how do you think this is going to work out for you? For me, it was obvious. I had to do something, and I would have done anything. I would have given anything to rescue myself from the misery that I was in. So, you know, you got to ask yourself, like, is this my rock bottom? And if it's not, how much further down do I want to sink before I'm ready to build myself back up again? And also, you know, ask yourself, is my life worth saving? And I hope you say yes. I mean, because it is, you know. I would probably want everyone to know that if you're considering taking this course, you're probably already on the right path. And you probably just need a sign from the universe that it's time to move forward. So I would say that to anyone watching this video, invest in yourself. You know, take the initiative, because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody's going to invest in you. Do it for yourself, and you will be amazed at the transformation you experience. When I started this program, I didn't recognize myself. I had no idea who I'd become, and I had no idea how I was going to get back to the person that I used to know and love. And now I feel like I've returned to myself, and even more so. So if you want to reunite with yourself and your higher power and the people you love in your life and with nature, and you want to have stronger, more beautiful connections with your family and your friends, do it, because this will give you the tools. You will release trauma, and you will feel free, and you will understand yourself better. What else is there, really? You can build your life on those foundational principles into anything that you desire. You just have to become clear, you know, on who you are and what has happened to you and how you can clear all that up. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, you know, pay attention to the signs.
Ding, 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 no. I just out of curiosity from your perspective, who do you think this program is perfect for? Like what types of, like if they're going through blank, this is good for them. If they're going through blank, this is good for them. Like if you were to fill in those blanks, what type of people or what type of life experiences would be good for this?
Well, I just coming from my own personal experience, I'm an empath, and I've always felt other people's emotions. I've always been deeply connected to something greater than myself, yet have always felt a separation at the same time. So I would say that, you know, I would say that this program makes sense if you've always been searching for something that you've never quite understood or you've never found. For me personally, I experienced a lot of trauma as a child. As a very young child, I experienced sexual abuse and covert and non-covert. And I think that for anybody who's experienced that kind of trauma in their life, this is a perfect program for you, whether whether you're aware of it or not. You'll become more aware of those types of things and how they set you up for trauma in adulthood. I would say that if you want to move past those traumas and release them, and you want to build your life on spiritual principles in the process, this is a program for you. And even if you don't believe in God, even if you are an atheist, you might find that by the end of this course, you definitely have a deeper connection to something greater than yourself, because you will experience the divine alignment through your vessel, who is Cassandra. There is no other explanation for what has happened between myself and Cassandra than divine guidance. This is not science. This is spirituality for sure. I would say that this program is for anybody who wants to overcome, whatever skeletons are in your closet, whether you know what they are or not. If you want to discover who you are and what your purpose is on this planet in this lifetime, this is the right program for you.
That makes me want to sign up for my own program. Dude, seriously.
I think you already have, actually.
Yeah, right. No, I wish I would have had a program like this back, even like a year or 2 years ago. So it's cool to hear your side while I'm over here just letting it channel through. What would you say the value of this experience is? Like the value of it, and then if you were to quantify it, like just your point of view from your side.
Okay. Let me have a drink of water. All right. So the value that I received from this program far exceeded my expectations. I never in a million years would have expected what I got out of it. So first and foremost, that blew my mind. And having nothing to do with the price of the course, the value was ridiculous how much I got out of it. So I would have given my entire kingdom for the tools that I have now, but for the place that I'm in right now. I would have given everything away. I would have sold every possession to be where I am right now. Not kidding. Everything, I think that, as a lifelong learner, somebody who has taken a lot of post-secondary educational courses and classes and boot camps and modules, You know, I've gone back to school several times for many different things just to stimulate myself and figure out, you know, what the next phase is in my life. I've taken boot camps that have been 10-week boot camps that prepare you for new roles in different industries, such as like UX design and coding. And I feel like, you know, those are the types of boot camps that prepare you for the real world. They last around 10 weeks. They cost around $12,000 to $14,000. So I would value this course at around $14,000, definitely, for an 8-week course. I think that if you put in the time and you do the work, which is about 40 hours a week of writing and internal investigation and meditation, and, you know, just doing the work. You can't do the work in 5 or 10 minutes. This is self-exploration. It's really deep, and you really have to take the time out of your life to reap these benefits. I would definitely value this course at around $14,000. Now, I personally, for what I got out of it, I would pay $100,000 for this experience, because I can rebuild my life. I could do anything I want now, like anything in the world. I don't have anything stopping me. So it was worth every penny I paid and millions more.
Yeah, you did say a key thing there too. Like, they have to actually do the work. Just like with anything, right? They have to actually apply what I'm sharing and actually do it. And I can't do it for you, right? I wish I could, but like, it is
so much work. I'm still behind on my homework. I completed the course. So, I mean, I'm still working, and that's the beauty of it. You know, you start to develop this relationship with yourself, and you are constantly working on yourself. And that's the beauty of it. It's a relationship with yourself. And I've never had that before. And if I had, I don't remember it, you know? And so this is an amazing opportunity to have this experience. You know, like I personally didn't work throughout this whole time. I focused entirely on my healing. I'm fortunate in the way that, you know, I didn't have the responsibilities of family or a job during this time to kind of take me away from my spiritual process. And it is a lot like meditating in a cave in that way. But I believe that I reap the most benefits in that way. And I think that if you can clear out your schedule and you can create a clearing for the most healing during this time, that you will get the most benefits out of it. But you absolutely must do the work. You must go deep inside yourself, and you can't be afraid to discover the answers, because that's the most important part. You have to speak the truth. You have to be willing to discover what there is to discover. You know, you can't be afraid. So if you do the work, you will reap the benefits. It's all about sweat equity here, you know? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything today. Is there any last remnants that you want to share with anybody that come to mind?
Last remnants. I don't know, just to reiterate how absolutely incredible I feel now after doing the course, as opposed to when I started the course. Please do it. Do it for the world. Like, heal yourself. You know, don't walk around angry and resentful and lonely. You know, you don't want to be living this way. You want to feel connected and open and loving. You know, get to that place again inside yourself. You know, take the course. Really, start tapping.
Yeah, when you say that too, I just got the visual of like our first sessions, like the visual of the video of like you talking on camera, and then to seeing you now, it's been such an honor to watch you literally like transform like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel it. You know, it's like the first or second session, I felt major shifts in my consciousness, just in my thinking. And even discussing things like when we discussed issues like weight and how I was hurt by my father for telling me I was fat when I was a kid. And then some real life stuff happened after we had tapped on that. And I just laughed hysterically instead of getting all upset. Like, that was a huge shift in my conscious awareness. And that happened in one session. Like, my entire story changed just from that one session. And then, you experience all these profound shifts in the way that you relate to your past. And so it was so funny. That moment.
That was actually super awesome. Because it was also like the universe was just testing our work together, right? So just in case people don't quite understand, Sage had a story from the past because her dad, what was it exactly? He basically called you fat, right?
I never had a good relationship with my father. It was always estranged. And one day I decided I would take the plunge and go meet him. I hadn't met him since I was like a baby. And so I flew to New York to go visit my dad. And when he picked me up from the airport, he said, "You're fat like your mother."
Yeah.
First thing he said to me. And for the rest of the trip, we didn't talk at all. Like, I sat in the living room and like I think I just ate candy from the like candy dish. And that really affected me my whole life. And
with
then
your body and your weight, right?
Yeah, my body and my weight. I always hid behind like my weight for protection.
Yeah. And then what happened? Like, we worked on it in a session, and then what happened that let us know that you really did have a cognitive shift around it? What was
What happened was that day.
Yeah, that was the same day that we did the session. Okay, that's right. Okay.
That day, the census lady came to my door and asked to speak to me. And so I went to find out what was the deal. And so she was asking me questions about whatever the household. And then as she goes to leave, she goes, "Good luck with the baby." And I was like, "Baby?" I thought she was talking about the dog in the household. That isn't mine. And I was like, "Thanks." And she goes, "Are you having a boy or a girl?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not pregnant." And it was like, I laughed my ass off. It's just like, guess I better watch my posture, or I just ate, whatever. But literally, it could have fucked me up. It could have messed up my whole day, or my night, or my week, or my month, or just like ruined everything. But I laughed, and it was funny. It was funny.
So you're saying, and your point of view is, if we hadn't done that session and we hadn't worked through that memory with your father, do you think you would have reacted differently than laughing your ass off?
Yeah, I probably would have like really gotten mad at this lady, yell at her, or like slam the door behind her, or oh yeah, it was revolutionary what happened to me in that moment. And then I laughed for like days afterward. I was just thinking about it and just like laughing. Nothing could have been funnier than that moment to me. So that was a really big shift in like not just my story, but a really traumatic memory that I tapped out. And so if you want to experience those types of shifts, things that really upset you and bother you that you no longer wish to have control over you, start tapping on that stuff with Cassandra. It'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I like to, like sometimes in our sessions where comedy would come in. And so then versus having the pain or the like sadness or the anger associated with that memory or that experience, all of a sudden it became comedy. So now when you remember that thing, you're going to laugh versus like cry. I love bearing witness to that stuff. It's like the coolest thing.
That's beautiful.
And the only last thing I want to say to everyone is, if you have been watching my journey and noticed that I am doing this instead of makeup and body art, and you've been curious, you can just send me a message and we can set up a discovery call. Either way, whether you choose to commit fully or not, you'll get value from the call. And we could explore what it would look like to work together and to unpack some of these things you've been carrying a really long time that are affecting you in your life in different areas. And yeah, just send me a message. And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
And thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everything, really.
And, yeah, really. And thank you for sharing so openly and vulnerably and intimately, because I know a lot of the things you said are going to resonate deeply with other people experiencing or having gone through similar situations.
Yeah, well, that's the hope, you know, that's the hope for sure.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.